Monday, that can only mean it's time for Scotty and Motty. I'm Scotty, and we're very colour-coded today, by the way.
We got the memo, didn't we? We understood the assignment.
What's come like with Che Guevara?
Che Guevara, yeah. All right, you can be Che Guevara, I'll be Fidel.
Yeah, he had hair, though, didn't he? So you're on to a loser there. Right, we're going to get into everything else very, very soon. But if it's your first time watching and you're not already doing, subscribe and like, please. It helps us grow the channel. And the amount of numbers views we're getting isn't correlating with the amount of people that are subscribing. So is that you? Well, help us out. Press subscribe. Are you happy, Jay? I saw you today, actually. He came into the BBC. I saw that beautiful bald orb.
Mate, what did I do at the BBC as well?
What did you do at the BBC?
What did I do for you?
You made a brew, begrudgingly.
Exactly. No, begrudgingly. I gave you a smile because I got a message off you. I'll read it out if you can find it. Oh, mine's
message. A coffee, I think it just.
I'll have a coffee.
I'll have a coffee. Yeah.
I was out to ask someone for a brew. Do you know what I mean? Not please, not thank you. Just I'll have a coffee, and he got one as well.
I did.
Do you know what I mean?
I did.
Like I think some people thought that's what I was there for.
What?
I think they thought, right, he's just come in to me. It's got a brew. I should have just left. I should have just done that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
come back with a sandwich next week.
But me and you was chatting briefly when we was at that there, BB. It was weird as well, actually, because when we was there, you was in one studios with Gaz Drinkwater in the other, and Joe McGrath was in the other. It was like Paddock,
taking over Media City.
And we were all on the same sort of page. Like, it's weird, right? Because you've been, and we're going to get into it, and everyone get involved in the chat and the comments. It's good to see Santa Notch, Mick Hullahan, Tyler Wood talking there as well, and Deepen. I'm going to get into your comments in a minute. Hit that like button as well, please, people. You've always been, well, not always, but for the last at least 3 or 4 months, you give up on Ten Hag. You like, look, this guy's not got what it takes.
Yes. It's not so much give up on Ten Hag. I've just still failed to see any evidence. I've said it before, like of what he's doing or any improvement at all, and it's longer than 4 months. I think since September last year. I don't think this season has been good. What performance can you like pin any hope on this season? Well, at all. I think, and let's look.
You know, the obvious one is the only one.
Yeah.
The only one, if you're going to name a performance that can give you any sort of glimmer of hope, because A, it's left us in the one competition we've got a chance of winning, and B, it's the only time we've beaten a big rival this season.
Newport.
It's the Newport one. We made hard work at that, didn't we?
Yeah.
Is obviously the Liverpool game. Now, the sad thing about the Liverpool game for me was after that high, and I'm not sort of exaggerating or trying to use a bit of hyperbole when I say it was genuinely one of the best games I've been at as a United fan. And, you know, like yourself, been going to United since I was a youngster, since I was about 5, and the atmosphere, the performance, the drama, everything about it, the nature of the win, the fact that it's Klopp's last season, we stopped him doing that quadruple, and it looks like we might have even derailed their season a little bit as well. Everything about it was amazing, and I was thinking, I said it after the game, I think you said it as well, it's like, build on this now. Let's build on it. Let's just get our season. It has been a bit of a shambles. Let's get it going.
Yeah.
And since that win against Liverpool, I think, and I might be forgetting some results here, so forgive me if I miss any out. I think we've drawn with Brentford after what was probably one of the worst performances I've ever seen under Erik Ten Hag, if not the worst performance. And we got what looked like a winner in the 96th minute and still lost. We've lost to Chelsea after leading going into the 97th minute. We've drawn at home to a Liverpool side that barely turned up, if being brutally honest. I know 2-2's not the end of the world against Liverpool, but we were winning in the 84th minute. So it's a frustrating result again. And we've drawn with Bournemouth, and I know I'm missing some out here as well. I think there's another result I'm missing. So it's just been massively deflating. Yeah. And then you put it into the wider context of, I think it's 1 win in the league now in 7. We're miles away from, I don't think it's mathematically impossible, but it might as well be. We ain't getting Champions League football next season. There's a big question mark over whether we'll have a Europa League football next season. That is just, it's unacceptable, and it's so annoying after that high of that 4-3 win, everything that came with it, that we just weren't able to build on it whatsoever.
No.
That's the real sort of sadness for me.
It's untenable, to use his name.
Untenable. The question is, like, there's 2 questions, and we keep asking this, but I think the only sort of show left for him in town is winning the FA Cup. Can he win the FA Cup? Will that be enough to save him?
I don't think he wins the FA Cup, and I'll be honest, I don't think we'll perform great against Coventry. We were supposedly the 2-2 against Liverpool. He was talking about how we're going to knock on, following that game and stuff against Bournemouth, and that didn't materialise. And there's a lot of false dawns under Ten Hag, and you mentioned some of the bad results we've had. You go back further, Copenhagen, Galatasaray, Brighton, Forest, West Ham. And people can go on and on and
Palace.
on at Palace and go on about
Newcastle.
About the injuries and say, well, that's derailed this season. The 11 that started against Bournemouth at the weekend is a better 11 than Bournemouth's 11.
Do you know
that's a fact. And you can do the same thing against all the teams that we've been beat or dropped points by this season. It's unacceptable, completely unacceptable, because, okay, you can have injuries, but you set up your team not to get beat. And this whole thing about, well, we show character and resilience. What, away at Bournemouth? City spanked them 6-1.
Are you saying that, though? Who's saying we're showing character and resilience? Is that him?
Ten Hag.
Ten Hag. I think
that's
Ten Hag,
embarrassing, that.
His default setting is to try and be positive and try and put a positive spin on. The trouble with that is, obviously, you come across as deluded. I'll get into some of the chats and I'll come back to you in a minute. Santa Notch says, here they come. Sorry, I think we're actually on time. Ten Hag, shake it all about, he also says. Tyler Wood says Ten Hag in. Talk MU says, yes, lads, it's game over for Ten Hag. Remember the chat we had Jay about a month ago? Bro, I do remember. I think, you would sort of said then, if memory serves, that you didn't think this was going to have a happy ending, say the least, and it doesn't like it will. Deep End says, think Ten Hag may have to go, even though who do we get as a replacement? We'll get to that in a minute. Darren Walters says, we have to break the sacking manager cycle. What's the worst that can happen? We will sack the replacement in 18 months. Afternoon in New Jersey, gentlemen. I'm afraid these Ten Hag tactics are the worst post-Fergie. The idea of him wants control. The reality is he's persisted with chaos throughout. Rat 22 is in New Jersey. Now, if you're in New Jersey or if you're abroad and you want to watch a bit of football, then we may have the answer for you. Now, you might notice there's a link in the description, and that's because we've partnered up with Surfshark. And here's why Surfshark could be the answer to all your VPN needs. If you're watching from outside the UK, whether you live abroad or you might be away on your holes, United matches are often subject to regional broadcasting rights, meaning that certain games may only be available to viewers in specific countries. Surfshark VPN allows users to connect to servers in different countries, effectively bypassing these geo restrictions. This means you can access streaming platforms or channels broadcasting soccer matches from anywhere in the world, making sure you never have to miss the action. You don't want to miss any of those big games. Surfshark VPN provides users with access to servers in numerous countries. This means that United fans can easily switch their virtual locations to countries where matches are freely available or where broadcasting rights are less restricted. This opens a wider range of channels to watch United games live. Surfshark VPN also encrypts your internet connection, ensuring that your online activities, including streaming soccer matches, remain private and secure. This is very useful if you're accessing streaming sites from public Wi-Fi networks where security risks may be higher. By connecting to optimized servers provided by Surfshark VPN, users may experience faster streaming speeds and reduced buffering. So you're not waiting ages to find out if that last-minute winner actually was a goal. You're not waiting for the VAR decision for even longer. Overall, Surfshark VPN offers United fans the flexibility, security and accessibility they need to watch the Reds from anywhere in the world, making it the best choice for streaming content. Use the code SAM24, that's Scotty and Motty, 24, SAM24 for 3 months free. There's a link in the description and as the pinned comment. There you go, you see. Straight in there.
You know it.
I know the dance. Check out the link in the description. A big thank you to Surfshark for sponsoring this podcast. Right, the obvious question that gets asked, and it will get asked, who would you like to see replace Erik Ten Hag?
I just honestly think it's that bad that I don't think that there's anybody that can do much of a worse job than Erik Ten Hag. I think that what we're getting out. Sorry, I think that what we're getting out of the players now is a bare minimum, and whether that's down to how much enthusiasm or ability they've got left in their body. Let's see, Casemiro, or whether it is the likes of Rashford, who did no ambition at all in the lad, and whether that's something that's can be helped by Ten Hag. I wouldn't even put him on the pitch the way sort of Rashford's been playing. I drop Rashford.
Who was you dropping for?
I think Garnacho plays better out on the left.
So you put Garnacho on the left, who goes on the right?
Well, Anthony, but he was injured, wasn't he?
There was a bit of confusion there. It turns out he wasn't well or he was injured. So.
Or you can do Diallo goes out on the left and Garnacho. I just think with Rashford, we know he's got the ability. I just think that he needs a rest, or mentally or emotional, or whatever he's going through. I'm not going to speculate on that, but I just think that we are getting the bare minimum out of the players. And as much as you can point fingers at them for not putting the performances in, it's the manager's job. It is the manager's job to manage the players that he's got and get the best out of them. If he's not doing that, then what is he there for? I just find the whole thing ridiculous. So with that, we had a conversation, it must have been like a month ago, when we were having about Unai Emery and who's had a better record across Europe, who's a better manager out of Unai Emery and Ten Hag. And I think you went Ten Hag and I said Emery. How do you sit on that now? Because if you look at the squad that Villa's got compared to United's, on paper at least, we should be doing a hell of a lot better. He's done amazing there. That performance
the
was
reason
great.
I was saying that Ten Hag though wasn't just because of what he'd done at United. It's a lot of it was what he'd done at
Ajax and stuff. But the thing, he's won Europa League twice, hasn't he, at two different clubs?
He's won it three times. I think. He's won it at Sevilla 3 times, and obviously he's won the league with Paris Saint-Germain. I mean, he's been Europa League. He's won it 4 times then. Once with Villarreal and 3 times with Sevilla. He's won the French league with Paris, Europa, that's not a word. Europa League runner-up with Arsenal, and also some other trophies as well in France. So he's done well. And Emery's done really well this season with Aston Villa, and there's a good chance they can get Champions League football, which is obviously fantastic. Emery's a good manager and he has done well. I mean, the biggest black mark on him this season is the fact that he's lost twice to United. I mean, which is a bit of a bizarre one, really, considering how well he's done and how poor United have been. For some strange reason, and I couldn't even begin to tell you how or why, we've done the double over Aston Villa.
But as a manager that's come into Aston Villa, you can see that he stamped his mark on that.
Definitely. They were a mess under Gerrard.
Right, and you can see, and I know they got spanked at the weekend by Newcastle. Yeah. Postecoglou's definitely made an impact at the Spurs. You can see a Postecoglou sort of team being built there. I mean, Spurs will always fall off to wherever, but he's got them playing better football. On their day, I think Spurs have done better performances under Postecoglou than I've seen Man United do under Ten Hag. You can do the same thing. I think Newcastle have not had the greatest of seasons, but they seem to be turning the corner under Eddie Howe. I don't think Manchester United have got it in them to beat Spurs 4-0 at home.
Probably not. I think that I'm a bit wary of this whole Postecoglou thing, I ain't gonna lie to you, because I think that he's done a good job, but I think a part of the reason everyone loves Postecoglou, a lot of it is to do with his personality, because of the way he is in press conferences. He's down to earth and he's calls everyone. Are
Spurs a better player than they were? Are Spurs a better team than they were before Postecoglou?
He's a bin fire under Conte, 100%.
Right, okay. 100%. Are Manchester United a better team under Ten Hag than they were under Solskjaer? Yes or no?
At the minute, no, but they've been a better team. But would you have kept Solly though?
No, I wouldn't have kept Solly.
So you wanted to get rid of Ollie. You've got in a manager that you admit now is worse. Do you not think there's a danger that we might do the same?
But somebody said there that you can't keep sacking the managers. Yes, you can until you get the right one. Manchester City sacked.
Do you think we'd have been better off keeping Ollie
than getting Ten Hag? No, I think by the time Solskjaer was getting sacked, then it was the usual thing about the players that sort of fell out of love with whatever tactics he was doing, or the lack of tactics, whatever rumours you've heard coming out of Carrington, because a lot of it was counter-attacking football, and it wasn't seemed to be quite intricate. And I think we've gone from one extreme to the other, where Ten Hag, from what I believe that he was doing at Ajax, is all about statistics and this football that supposedly what is trying and play, maybe complicating it too much for some players that haven't got the greatest of IQs at Manchester United. I just think I don't think we lose anything by rolling the dice.
Who would you bring in then? I'm not saying you're wrong, by the way. I'm not saying
that's available out there.
I'm still sort of. I don't think there's any point in sacking him now.
No, I don't think there is. But I don't think there's. Who's the manager at Sporting Lisbon that we've been linked with?
Ruben Amorim.
Right, okay, why don't we get him? But
the Scousers wanted him apparently, and I think the smart money might be on him going to Liverpool, but he's come out and said he's not going anywhere. But it was a bit of an ambiguous statement if you look at what he actually said. Yeah. So I think they're in pole position if he is leaving to get him. The other one, obviously, the prime sort of candidates, amongst the prime candidates, you've got Graham Potter, you've got Gareth Southgate, you've got Thomas Tuchel, and you've got Julian Nagelsmann. So
I'd have any of them.
Anyone else?
I'd have any of them except for Gareth Southgate. ahead of Ten Hag.
If you had your choice, who would be your choice?
I'd probably go for Nagelsmann, or an outside bet would be Gasperini at Atlanta. Who's done wonders. I mean, I'm not just going on to the him beating Liverpool last week, but what he's worked with at that club. And I think he was at Inter previously, and I think he got his hands burnt when he was at Inter. But he's an aging manager, 61, 62. So,
do you think how bad it's been that United might have to bite the bullet and get someone in and just admit we're going to get someone in to steady the ship a bit? Like, because there's all this myth at United when we're getting a manager in, this is going to be, other than Ralph Rangnick, this is going to be a long-term manager. David Moyes on a 6-year deal. Ollie's going to be here forever. Even Jose, we were trying to kid ourselves that he was going to be here for more than like the 18 months or just under the 3 years that he always does. So you think United might have to go, you know what, we're going to get someone in for 2 years. Like we kind of did with Van Gaal. I know we give him a 3-year deal and we sacked him after 2, but it was kind of an acceptance with Van Gaal. He was coming in to steady the mess that Moyes had left him with. Do you think we might have to do that a little bit and go, do you know what, maybe we get someone like a Tuchel in, right? I'm not advocating this, I'm asking you a question. For 2 years, and he gets us on stops this rot that we're in, gets rid of a lot of the players we need to get rid of, we get in some good signings, sort of steady the ship, and then we start looking for when there's a longer term option. Or do you think we need to go long term straight away?
I don't think that long term. I mean, obviously you look at the likes of Pep, and obviously Klopp's leaving Liverpool now.
Yeah.
But long-term managers aren't really a great thing, especially on the continent.
It's a bit of a myth.
It's a bit of a myth. It's all like we've got to have a long-term manager. No, we had the longest-term manager under Ferguson because he was the greatest manager of all time and highly successful with it. That's why you have got a great manager for so long. Man City before Pep had won the league a couple of times, and then sacked Pellegrini to get Pep Guardiola in.
Planning it, they had a plan. There's some big names being bandied about here. Some good ones as well. Others I'm not so au fait with, and others I'm not really. I think there's a bit of trolling going on as well. Raf22 says Big Sam has to be next on the list. Mick Holohan says Nagelsmann is probably the best candidate. The trouble with that is, I think you've got to wait till after the Euros to see what he's going to do, and I don't know where that leaves you in terms of you transfer whatever.
You can have a conversation now. I'm not.
No, but you're gonna, because there's talk that. I think was it Rudi Völler who's in charge of Germany. Faces they're going to sit down at the end of the Euros, so he might not know himself. Like if they win the Euros, he might say, "Well, I'm going to stay on for the World Cup." That's the point. Do you know what I mean? Right. So
because his contract ends, doesn't it?
Yeah, but if say like let's say Germany do a madness in the Euros, he might go, "I can manage Germany to the World Cup here and potentially win it."
Yeah.
So I don't know. That might be the issue there. I mean, he might be like, you can have a conversation. He says, "Look, as soon as I'm done with these lot, I'll come to Old Trafford if you can get him booked in." But I don't know. That's the issue there. And if anyone does know, by all means, get involved in the comments and let me know. Joshua McGill says, "Love you boys, love you too." Joshua, thank you. Since December, Tottenham is quite awful, says Phil65. That's what I mean about personality of Postecoglou. I think a lot of people like him and will buy into him more because he's got a bit about him in terms of charisma and stuff like that. And it's when you're going through this little dip. Spurs haven't been great since December. People are still like, okay, the managers are, we can see what he's trying to do, and we can in the press conference and stuff. There's a bit of back and forth there with the press and stuff. I think the issue, part of the issue, not the only issue. One of the issues that's going on with Erik ten Hag is I don't think he comes across great in press conferences. And I saw someone commenting ages ago on Twitter saying, "Well, Jay, how do you know how he comes across in press conferences?" Well, for starters, I've been in some of them. Secondly, I've spoken to a lot of journalists, and a lot of journalists who've had on Stretford Paddock, and some of them have highlighted the thing that may go against him is sometimes he doesn't seem to have a great relationship with the press. Yeah. I'm not saying that's a be-all and end-all. Results matter more than anything. You could win. Fergie had a very erratic relationship with the press. No one cared. United fans didn't care because he kept winning things. The main thing is you're winning. I'm just saying that if you're not winning, then those other facets of the game and the PR, if you will, can go against you. Talk says Marco Silva, not for me. Thomas Frank, Marco, Rose, Nagelsmann, Tuchel. Inzaghi from Inter says Greg G. Fonseca at Lille says Greg Z as well. Amy Webb 321 says he's going back to Bayern. Oh, is that Nagelsmann? Sorry, I struggle to keep up with what is going on with all these managers, I presume. In
advanced talks.
Advanced talks 23 minutes ago. There you go. That could be the end of that one, yeah. So
he's already been the Bayern Munich boss before.
Yeah. So he could be going back to Bayern Munich. I mean, they've had a bit of a nightmare this season, haven't they? In terms of just Bayer Leverkusen absolutely smashing it in the Bundesliga. it's amazing to me that Harry Kane's gone there and not won the league.
No, but
as well as and it's weird with Harry Kane because I don't particularly like Harry Kane. I'm fond of him because I don't really care about England, so it's not like, he's England's greatest goal scorer. That's almost meaningless to me. But he's not someone I particularly hate.
No,
do you know what I mean? He seems
no, he seems like a decent.
Yeah, like when it was all popping off with like Black Lives Matter and other stuff, he seems to like, say this kind of things you'd want someone to say. He's quite supportive of his teammates, whatever. There's nothing where I go like, oh, he's a complete.
No, he's quite bland. I don't mean that as an insult. He's very James Milner.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? Although James Milner played for City and Liverpool and Leeds.
So yeah, I hate James Milner. But so he's not like James Milner at all.
No.
But other than that, he's like James Milner.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But like with Harry Kane, like there's not really too much to hate him on. Yeah, the fact that he's not going to win the title, or he hasn't won the title because it's already done.
I know. Against a team that have never won the league before as well is even better.
I know. Like I saw someone said like, what would break first? Kingsley Coman's like record of always winning the title, or Harry Kane's record of never winning anything? And it's like the Kingsley Coman's record, so he's broke first, hasn't it? Because he's not won it for the first time.
Well, you were saying there with Liverpool looking at taking a punt on the spot in Lisbon.
But apparently, it's.
But the thing is, whenever United are linked to managers who haven't done anything, there always seems to be a little bit of cautiousness. Do you know, like whenever you mention a deserver, I'm going, well, what's he won at Brighton? Or what's he done previously? Do you know what I mean? I think there's a hesitance to try and get that sort of next manager.
Would you have De Zerbi?
I would, yeah.
I think De Zerbi, because I think we need to look at this differently as well. And I'm not saying we should sack Ten Hag and bring in De Zerbi. I'm just saying it's going to be a different kind of structure at United. Ten Hag's come in, and from what we gather is he's had a say in everything. He's had a say in player recruitment, in the transfers themselves. Like he's been able to overrule other people in the United hierarchy when they wanted to bring signings in. He's like, nah, that's not happening. We're buying this one instead. From what we gather, I think if you were to bring in De Zerbi as more of a coach, and you go, look, we'll get you players that fit your system, that fit your style, that fit your tactics. You leave that to us. You can veto it.
That's why Brighton do so well.
Yeah, you can veto it if you go, look, I ain't going to play that kid.
Yeah.
Don't buy him because I will not pick him. But a little bit like Klopp at Liverpool is the best example. Klopp wanted Julian Brand. The club went, no. We've got you, Mo Salah. Trust us. This kid plays in your system, in your team, and will smash it. And unfortunately, for everyone, he did.
Yeah.
And he does. But that is a well-run club. And that is a club that has a plan and what they're doing in the structure. Even City at times, I think with Tiggy Bergistan, have said to Pep, we've got this player that fits in your system. I don't think Pep scouted all these players they brought in. And it's like, look, we'll bring him in, we can get this deal happening. Look, and also what City do, and I hate City, and there's 115 reasons I hate him more than I used to. They'll have a limit. So when it was like, was it Cucurella? And it was like, Brighton wanted 50 odd million. And City went, we'll go to 45, and Brighton went, well, no, we want 50. And City went, well, no. And then Chelsea went, we'll pay that. Like, when Pep wanted Harry Maguire, and Leicester wanted 80 million, and Pep was like, I'm not going to do that. Or City were like, I'm not going to do that. They did it
with Harry Kane as well.
Harry Kane. Like, there's a limit there. Whereas United just don't seem to do that.
United seem to go the other way. We won't be told, we won't sign anyone. Do you know, like Anthony's a great example. You know, City would have walked away from that deal, rightly so.
Yeah.
And United should have done it when it got anywhere above 2 mil.
Most people not really feeling the De Zerbi one. NC said De Zerbi does not deserve the United job. Shabazz Kara says, no please, he's the guy, this is BS. Ross Murphy says, De Zerbi overrated in my opinion. He's doing well at Brighton because he's managing a real club, same with Potter. There's a lot of similarities.
Was that not the case with Ten Hag at Ajax though? Do you know what I mean? If you're labelling criticism at De Zerbi for doing as well as I think a Brighton team can do under him, you got semi-finals of the FA Cup last season, don't forget, and have had a lot of bad injuries this season, not doing bad in the league, and it's criticism that he's doing well at a well-run club. Can you not say the same thing about Ten Hag? Because Ten Hag did well at Ajax underneath Overmars and Van der Sar, and now he's come to Manchester United where it's a lot, I'd say loose is putting it bluntly, structure above him, where he's been able to cherry pick players that I don't think anybody above him would have signed.
I mean, it's sad because the green shoots that we saw last season have just gone on there. Like there's the points you saw last season, you go, okay, winning that trophy, getting into the Champions League, having that spell post, was it Sociedad, where we beat basically everyone at Old Trafford. So you could go, look, there's reasons here to think this guy is going to get it right. And then all that seems gone out the window. The home record's gone out the window. Been beaten. You named a load of teams there. And I'm not just talking about the Manchester Cities of this world that have beaten us at Old Trafford. When you're getting into teams like, Palace and Brighton and Newcastle and not Copenhagen, sorry, Galatasaray. There's no defence of that, to be honest with you. And that's the bad thing. I don't know. I think I agree with you. I don't think we will win the FA Cup. I think we're going to have an absolute nightmare of City beating us in the final again. I do. I think that the only possible way he could save his job is if he were to win the FA Cup, which unfortunately I don't think he will, because I want to see United managers turn around, I want to see him do well. I just don't think it's going to happen. Ross McPherson says, was staunchly pro Ten Hag. Now I'm finding it really hard to defend him. I feel your pain, bro. If he did go, Thiago Motta possibly. Honestly, wouldn't mind Simeone either. Whether he'd walk from Atletico is another thing. I don't think you get Diego Simeone.
No, Simeone ain't leaving there.
I don't think he's. And I think if Simeone came in,
Motta's done well at Bologna though.
Yeah, he has. He's become like probably the biggest flavour of the month, for want of a better term, in terms of the young managers who people are looking at. I think Motta's right up there because of, like you say, it's Bologna aren't exactly one of the biggest clubs in Italy. Yeah, he's got him. Is it fourth?
Yeah, I think it comes down to this: do we keep it with Ten Hag because he can turn it around next season, or if we get someone else in, can it get any worse? And build. And the thing to take into consideration, because you're hearing more about fractures within relationships within the club, whether there's anything between the Anthony and Ten Hag thing, or the stuff with Garnacho with the social media post, which I think was massive mountains over molehills, personally myself. But there's been, throughout the season, there's been a lot of sort of rumblings about people not being too happy with his tactics, and that's sort of when it becomes end of days, isn't it? When you hear all the rumours, that was what happened with Solskjaer, wasn't it? And same with Mourinho and Van Gaal and blah, blah, blah. And you sort of expect it to lead to the eventual outcome now. I just can't see it any other way. I just don't think it gets any worse if we try somebody else. And with the new...
Well, that's the question.
With the new structure underneath it, above him, whoever this person is, whether it's Ten Hag, I just think it's a new slate for you, Manchester United. Let's start next season, new manager. INEOS have got all the stuff upstairs sorted out, and it just feels like it's time for everyone to move on. Otherwise, we stick with him, and if there is fractures within the squad, are they repairable?
I mean, I think the only way he could show that he could get his squad together is to beat Manchester City in an FA Cup final. That's the only way you could make a case for, look, I can still get a tune out of these players. I'm still fighting. He's got to go to Middlesbrough and get something. Yeah. All that jazz.
But even that's only 2 games, though, isn't it?
It is, but it's a big deal. I think you can at least argue the case there. You can go, look, yes, it's been an absolute horror show of a season, but I've still managed to win a trophy. That's my 2nd trophy in 2 seasons. And you might go, what did he do? But back-to-back trophies. I know, but no, I mean, he's not going to go in. I'm saying if he's making his case.
Yeah, I get that.
He could say, like, look, I've done back-to-back trophies in 2 years. Yes, it's been a nightmare. Yes, it has been a horror show of a season, but we've ended it on a high. I deserve a crack under this new structure. That could be his argument.
I understand that. How many games do you have to win the FA Cup?
I couldn't tell
6, is it?
Something like that.
About 5, 6. Right. How many games over a season? 38. Do you judge a man based on a cup run, or do you judge a man's performance over a league table?
Well, I don't know. That's
for me. Obviously, you have more data to go out over a league campaign than you do an FA Cup. We talked about the Carabao Cup last year and the teams would be to win that thing. Yeah, it wasn't impressive.
No, it wasn't. The hardest one was Newcastle in the final, wasn't it? In the because I think was it Forest and I think it was it Villa at home. I can't remember.
Charlton.
I don't know, man. I think it's hard because if you beat City in that FA Cup final, I know there's going to be a lot of emotion there. There's going to be a lot of people that are just going to be like, yeah, that's, you know what, he's redeemed himself. The question is, will INEOS see it like that, or will they go, no, we're sacking you anyway?
I don't know. I think, you know...
If you, as a fan, if he won the FA Cup against City in the final, would that be enough for you to give him another chance?
No. I've just seen enough or not seen enough for him to warrant to be kept a job, and I'm not judging it on him beating Coventry on Sunday if we do that, or beating Man City in a final. I just think over the course of... And it might even just this season. I think last season, after the Carabao Cup, I think we fell off massively. Marcus Rashford had one of the best, probably the best season of his career last year.
No, he did. There's no doubt about it.
Take that out. Take Rashford out of that equation. Then, like, were our performances great last season? I think there's a lot of revisionism, like looking back on what last season actually was. Because I was calling, from February onwards, I was saying this football is not good. Post-World Cup.
Do you know what, though? And I know you were. And there was a lot of bad performances post as Carabao. There was some good ones, but not as many. And I think the record, it wasn't disastrous, but it wasn't as impressive as it was going up to the Carabao Cup. But I also think this club has got to take some responsibility. It's not only the manager, because I'm sorry, and I said this at the time on Stretford Paddock, and I'll say it again. If you're fighting on 4 fronts going into January, right? You've lost your top scorer, one of the greatest players ever, and he's gone. And you know he's gone because he's walked out the door in was it end of August.
Yeah.
To not replace him, and to just go, now we're going to get you someone who's not good enough to get in Burnley's team. I'm sorry, that is just criminal for me.
There's another way of looking at it, though.
It's like both things can be true. The manager can underachieve, and the club can have let him down with that signing as well.
I completely agree.
Because I don't think Wout Weghorst should have been playing for Manchester United.
No, I agree with you completely, right? And when I'm sort of talking about Ten Hag, I am not like ignoring the structure or the circus that was above him at all.
Yeah.
But if you're fighting on 4 fronts, we had the conversation. If people go back to our show and said, you can't do that. We haven't got the squad to do it. And it'll be our undoing. At some point, you're going to have to say, right, we'll concentrate on this or this. I think if he pulls out, like either going for the league or Europa, we may have had a better chance of going into that FA Cup final due to fitnesses and stuff.
Maybe.
But do you know what I mean? As a manager, you have to look at what you've got, and then there's the thing early on this season, then was going like, oh well, he's run us into the ground last year going on 4 fronts, and then we had the prolonged pre-season, which is of course the club's fault for taking us.
That's what I mean. I don't think it's just on him.
It's not just on him, but it's on him, the plays that he puts out week in, week out.
Yeah, no, that's a separate thing. I mean, like, going back to that last season, you look at Arsenal, right? When they realise, right, we're in a bit of a title race, they go out and they put a player that's still doing it for him in Trossard. I know he's not had the greatest sort of game recently, but, you know, he scored the winner against the Scousers as a player. I just go back to that and I think you've got these opportunities, right, when things are going well, to build on that. Your man there, Jose Mourinho, he got us 19 points behind City. What did we do? Brought in Delo, Freddie we didn't want, and Lee Grant. There was a time when Ollie sort of looked like he was going to do something. Looked like we had a bit of a, something was going to pop off. And what did we do? That summer, do you remember that summer we brought in Donny van der Beek and Tellez and all that lot? And it was just, didn't make any sense.
You can go back to Ronaldo leaving and signing Michael Owen.
Exactly.
Owen, Valencia.
So it's like, we can blame the manager, and I will do. But my point I'm getting at is, when this new manager comes in, or if Erik Ten Hag does manage to keep his job, we've got to, under INEOS, do things better than we have been doing. Because if we sat here, me and you, this time next season, with, let's just say, for the sake of argument, Roberto De Zerbi's in charge, and United have, we've had a good season, or 2 years, shall I say, we've had a good season under him. The next season is faltering, and the club haven't really backed him properly. We're just going to end up going through this cycle. So get the manager in by all stretch, but INEOS have got to prove their worth in terms of getting this structure in and backing the manager. Yeah,
which I'm really excited about, seeing the stuff that is being done behind the closed doors, like the nutritionist that we're supposedly getting, and that all buys into that Dave Brailsford way of thinking, and that's how he got Team Sky to be improved. It's not to improve everything on the pitch; it's the 1% or is it 10% increments that he tries? 1%. So if you improve everything 1% all areas, then as a collective, it should bring the players up. But the way I look at Ten Hag is this, Jay, if I give you the greatest ingredients known to man, right, and put you in a kitchen, right, and I give Gordon Ramsay ingredients from Aldi, right, who's cooking the best meal?
Despite the fact I've been cooking a lot lately, Gordon Ramsay.
Right, so my point is, people who are experts can use bad ingredients and create something amazing, right?
Yeah.
We might not have the greatest team. Yes, we've had injuries, but at the moment we're getting shit dish after shit dish after shit dish, and I'm sick of eating it.
Sick of eating shit. Anyway, I'm going to read it there. That seems like an appropriate area to end this podcast. That's been Scotty. Let us know in the chat and the comments. Don't forget to check out Surfshark as well. Big thank you for them sponsoring the podcast. Going to be back later on this week with Agony Uncles. Plus, we'll be doing another collab with the Slopsters, Sloppy Joes. Yeah, we'll be teaming up with them. If you've not done already as well, in fact, while I've got you here, let me just do a little Patreon. Because we've been putting some Patreon-only content on there. We've upped our game on Patreon there. There's a link in the chat there. Go and give us a subscribe on Patreon. There's extra content there for our paid members. We appreciate all your support. That's been Scotty. I've been Marty. This has been another look at Erik Ten Hag's future. Thanks for watching.